this House Bill 1079. If we don't question the quorum, Robert's rules tell us that whatever the number is here can be a quorum if nobody raises the question. We now have one more, so we're getting close. We're getting close. But you're not going to. I think what we'll go ahead and do is we'll start the meeting with our usual invocation. Representative Neal.
Father, we thank you this afternoon for the privilege we have to bow our hearts before you. We thank you for the leadership and the guidance that you give to us, for giving us wisdom. And as we proceed throughout the meeting this afternoon, we pray for that special wisdom that only you can grant. And we give you the praise and the glory. In thy name we pray.
Amen. Okay, Representative Neal, you're on again for presenting the substitute bill for House Resolution 1079.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I want to thank Representative Millar. He's unable to be with us today, but this is a resolution that was brought by Representative Millar, and something that is, as our chairman has said, near and dear to his heart, and has been working with this for, from what I understand, several years, and brought the resolution to us at our last meeting. And at that meeting, Madam Chair set up a subcommittee to work on just refining the resolution a little bit. And I want to thank Representative Ash for the work that she did in drafting the language that we have. Representative Talton as well. The three of us worked together and put together the resolution. And we can go through the resolution, or we can just get to the heart of it and the resolved and talk about the specifics if you want to do that. And I think that would probably be all that we need to do.
Okay. Does any member of the committee not understand what we're talking about as far as House Resolution 1079 is concerned? I think this is the children's budget study committee that was recommended by Representative Millar, like Representative Neal said several years ago, and Representative Ash has been very instrumental in trying to get this passed. Is there anybody that has a question about the purpose of the resolution, or any question to have for Representative Ash or Neal here? Okay. Do I hear a motion?
I move to pass.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We're off and running with House Resolution 1079, and I've asked Representative Neal to chair that, so he can, I hope, will be appointed by the Speaker or whomever is supposed to appoint. But in the interim, we're going to ask him to do that. And our major emphasis today for the committee is to have a presentation from the Budget Office. And I've asked both a House budget for Department of Human Resources and the House budget for the Community Help to come to present to us today. And so I'll turn it over to whomever would like to go first, Matthew or Margie. It's the M&M team.
Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the committee, thank you for having us. We're always delighted to meet with you and take your questions and try to provide you with some answers. We've been asked to come talk about the budget, and I'm going to try to stay real elementary here and begin from the beginning. I guess that's where you always start. The budget first gets presented or dealt with within each department by directive from the governor. The governor sets what his priorities are, where he wants funding to be allocated, at what level, and the department comes back with their recommendations to him. After the governor gets those recommendations, he'll go through those and present his own budget. So possibly some items that the department has recommended may not get recommended by the governor, or vice versa. Something that wasn't recommended in the department's budget may get recommended by the governor. We in turn receive the budget, go through it, make our own changes, decide whether or not we like or dislike some of the governor's adds or subtracts, and of course we pass it out ourselves, and the governor has the opportunity to veto or to look at the budget how he sees fit. At times he'll defer funding, veto funding, and a loss of any other type of.
Matthew, tell us about how much money is in the Department of Human Resources and how the different departments are broken down. Run through that little kind of cheat sheet that you had.
What I've done with the Department of Human Resources, as the sheets go around, this first page is the base budget within DHR, where we are funding currently before any changes. Yes, you can.
May I share them with the audience?
Sure, that'd be perfectly fine. Before any changes made by the governor or by this General Assembly. If you flip the page, I'm giving you a little bit of a historic perspective on where we've added funding to the children and youth areas. And you can see that it starts in 2005 and goes through 2006. And then the third page, I've broken out areas where the governor has recommended new funding in the children and youth budget areas. What happens is once these line items are agreed to and passed, typically they will become part of the base budget on page number 1. So all the items you see from 2005 and 2006 on the second page are currently in this base, which is on page 1.
I have a similar document for DCH, but it's not as straightforward, I guess, as pulling out the children component. For them, they have a right from the start Medicaid, which is babies born on Medicaid, and then they have low-income Medicaid, which are children that are of parents who can't afford other insurance, and then Peach Care component, which used to be the Unit C, but that's now just as a program in the budget.
Eric, you want to help her pass this out? This is a very complicated process, and I know it's very elementary to some of us that have been around for a while, but I wanted the committee, since we have so many freshmen and maybe not as experienced members, to get a look at the budget from DHR and Community Health. Maybe, Margie, if you could kind of tell us how these two, even though they're separate departments, how they kind of commingle their funds and how they kind of, if you can, Medicare, Medicaid, those kind of delineations, and just a little bit of how we follow children through the process of the budget.
The commingling of the funds, to some extent, would be that when you go for enrollment onto a Medicaid program, you do that through a DFACS office, and all that is funded through DHR. So a lot of the administrative costs of the different programs are funded in DHR, and just the medical component where they show up at the provider or the hospital is where the DCH component comes in to reimburse for that.
Tell us how we do the state funds, the tobacco funds, the federal match, and all that kind of stuff. Give us a little bit of help as far as being able to, and of course Representative Sinkfield knows all this, but maybe we'll learn something from it too.
The tobacco funds have previously been used for expansions in our Medicaid program. Usually they were used for between the 200 and 235% level, and so we have those funds, and they take those funds. They're considered similar to state funds, so they can be matched with federal funds. And our federal fund participation rate changes every year based on the federal budget, but on average it's about a 60-40 match.
Are there members of the committee that have any questions about the process, the budgetary process? We've already explained how it begins, and then when it comes to the House and the Senate, of course, we have the appropriations broken down into committees, and each committee kind of looks at what budgetary items are put in that committee. Our particular committee would be under the Health and Human Services, which is chaired by Representative Jeff Brown, and he is a very, very smart and very thorough chairman. I think we meet rather a lot to do this. So can you kind of help us to understand the process of, for instance, if somebody wanted to find or to ask for funds through the budgetary process, how that happens?
Usually in January when we start back, we'll hear from the departments, and they will speak, I guess, basically on the governor's recommendations. And then from that point, we'll usually do a public comment, and we may do one for the amended and then do a separate one for 07, but sometimes we combine them. And from that point, then the committee will, make their own recommendations for savings options, or they will ask the department to review their recommendations they made that the governor may not have accepted, and we will put in, any additions for funding that we see that came out of the public hearings.
Okay. Looking at these sheets, does anybody have any questions about anything? This is your opportunity to learn how the budget works and how the process. These are the people that probably know more about the budget than anybody in the General Assembly, or as far as children are concerned anyway. Representative May?
On the second page of the DHR budget, or the third page actually, the increased screenings from 13 to 29, is that the increase is 2.28?
Yes.
That's actually a decrease. The way that the screening is working, I probably first should let you know that brackets around the number is
negative.
It's a negative. So we're decreasing the state funding in that area because we are now moving from state paying for everyone to be screened to private pay and to insurance. And those who can't pay will still cover under Medicaid. I guess it's basically a philosophical, political philosophical difference. Should the state be paying for some of these folks to receive this screening, or do individuals have the ability to pay themselves? So that was the recommendation, that we should seek other avenues of other ways of funding this type of service rather than the state just carrying the load fully themselves.
So you're saying that the state, correct me, it no longer pays for the screening?
They do for folks who are Medicaid eligible.
And that's just in a different line item somewhere else?
It's included. The reason why you're seeing the cuts is because we're cutting out the state funds that were provided to folks who can now actually pay. So those folks we won't be spending as much state dollars in that area because those folks can use their private insurance.
Anybody else got a question? Y'all must have done an excellent job. I probably would have had about 1,000 questions.
Well, I think one more interesting thing to comment about DCH is, when we do the budget for Peach Care or for RSM Medicaid, we don't know the exact number. We do that based off of projection. So that's why sometimes you'll see an adjustment in the amended where it's either, we understated the funds because the projection was low or high.
Okay.
Chairman, may I ask one question?
You may if you would like to.
Well, I guess my question is, when we're talking about children in the budget, these are clearly the two big hunks of money.
Right,
But we also deal with children in the Department of Juvenile Justice.
right.
We deal with children in food nutrition problems in the Department of Education.
Right.
So when looking at a children's budget,
This is just the beginning.
Got
This
it.
was the first bite. This is where I thought we might be able to get
Got it.
some expertise and some direction as far as these two large areas, and perhaps we could identify through the study committee the sections that we really want to do kind of as pilots. And I'm not the chair, so I'm going to let the chair kind of delineate, but this was an opportunity, since I'm serving on the Health and Human Services Subcommittee, these two people are...
You still on it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I'm still on it. So these folks have been working with us, and we've been going through the budget, and I asked them to come and present to the committee in the hopes that we could get, some dialogue from other members of the committee that need to be aware of how the children's budget might be organized. Representative Sinkfield, did you have a question?
I was just looking at the TANF budget, and just for old time's sake, how many families are on TANF now, do you know?
The current rolls, I don't know offhand. I know it's decreasing.
It continues to decrease?
Right. In an interesting side note to this, the commissioners actually said that she wants to reduce the rolls to zero. All those that can work will work.
I see something, how old is the funds for the teen work program? Do you know anything about that?
This is going to be a new,
Oh, this
somewhat
is
new
new?
initiative that the department's taking on. So it will be I believe it's an after-school type or summer type employment.
Yeah, I think it's
use
a
for
summer
teens.
work program
Right.
for kids, especially foster children,
Well, see, that's what I was
that are
thinking.
needing jobs, summer jobs, to earn a little extra money. And so
Well,
this
I
is,
remember them testifying about that, Madam Chair, but they did not say, this says for TANF funds for the teen work program.
That's correct.
And if my memory is correct, they would have to fall in a certain category to get those funds.
well, I think they're foster children. I don't know whether that means their income is below poverty. I mean, I don't know whether there's an income threshold or not. Do you know, Matthew?
Yes, there is, and I don't know offhand what that is, but I can get you that information.
Okay. Would you like to speak?
Hey, Francis?
It's also supposed to cover children from TANF families in addition to foster children.
Right.
Yeah, because the two aren't synonymous.
I appreciate that, Mary Frances. Thank you very much. We've got some smart people in the audience, too. Are there other questions from the committee members? Jay? Willie? Anybody? Well, you all must have just done a fantastic job. It's taken me 10 years to understand this, so I don't know. Anybody got any announcements, questions, comments? I would ask the committee to get back with me. We have promised to do a field trip to Christian City, and we had to have it canceled because our meeting last time ran over through the House General Assembly. We worked right through lunch and right through the committee meeting, and so we had to cancel it. So would you all please, on a poll, just give me an idea of whether you would rather have it on a regular committee day or whether you would commit to going to Christian City on an off day when we are out of the General Assembly, so that we would be really off, but yet we could perhaps use that time to take the trip to Christian City. I don't believe it's, about 45 minutes from Atlanta, and it would be probably half a day, so it would not include the entire day, and it would probably, include some of the lunch hour. But we have made the commitment to to take this field trip, and I would appreciate it if you could let me know when is the most convenient time for you to join us for that.
Well, Madam Chair, you may have the inside track, but from what I can gather, we are dealing with various unknown situations for several days from now on, it appears.
It would appear so.
Yeah, so it would be hard to schedule it.
Well, I was thinking about one of the Fridays that we evidently would be out, if that would be at all a convenient time for us to go.
I can't make nothing of it.
Well, just get back with Talmadge and just let her know what's your best, most convenient time, and if a day that we're not in session might be a convenient time for us to go, that would be helpful as well. We have made that commitment, and I'd like to get as many members of the committee to go as possible. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Oh, wow.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, hopefully we'll be meeting next Wednesday as well, depending on time. Thank you, Matthew and Margie, appreciate it very much. Y'all did a good job.